Well, welcome everyone to Inverted Reality TV's Live from the Lounge. I am your host, TL Swope. And whether I have 1 or 100, I'm here to pontificate, to facilitate, and to get the word out of conservatism against all the other isms out there, which make no sense. Okay, I see that we have slim pickings this evening. I don't see anyone in particular that I know. So therefore, I would just say welcome. And anyhow, I will kind of get into what has been going on in this insane week as we know it. It gets crazier every week, which there is no end. When you have the world being run by the inmates of the asylum, there is no answer to all of this insanity. I mean, the headlines, they never cease to amaze me. The things that are happening, the things that they say on television. And to be honest with you, I try to watch as little television as possible, because of the fact is they call it programming for a reason. It's about brainwashing you. It's about swaying your opinion. It's about changing your mind. It's about making the good look bad and the ugly look pretty and the down look up. That's what they do. That's their job. And we pay to do it. What's so ironic about it is that we actually pay, in some cases, hundreds of dollars a month to be indoctrinated with propaganda, which is ridiculous. And we can see what's going on. We've gotten to the point to where that people think that men don't have to have a penis. Women don't have to have a vagina. Anybody can go into any restroom. It makes no sense. Women declaring, "Don't call me a woman." I mean, I've done videos on these type of things where these are supposed to be, quote, higher learning people, come out of these so-called higher learning institutions, end quote. And this is what they're teaching your daughters, nieces, nephews, children, and you're paying big money for it. I did videos about that where they were teaching men how to stick sex toys up their anuses in Harvard. You may want to look at one of my videos, what in the butt, that will show you what is going on in this nation. It's insane. And they want you to think that it's all normal, and if you don't go along with it, you're insane. And then if you raise up your voice, they want to intimidate you. Now, as a Bible-believing person myself and a conservative, I do not go along. I don't subscribe to intimidation, because I also believe in the First Amendment, which is supported by the Second Amendment. Hi, Sue. Shout out to Sue Miller. But yeah, that's, I do not subscribe to any of that crap, because that's what it is. And if we don't stand up, I've said it over and over again, they are taking our kids, They are brainwashing them. And the reason why they have to silence conservatives is for the simple reason that they know that their argument cannot hold up to capitalism. They know it. That's why they will not let conservatives talk. They want to silence you. I mean, from YouTube to everybody else. I've looked at my analytics a lot. I see my analytics are all over the place, which I know I'm not stupid. I can tell when something's awry, and I can look at my analytics day in, day out, and see all of these weird, just crazy fluctuations. I see where I have so many views live time, and they never show up as views later. I've seen the views go backwards. I've seen the subscribers go backwards on one page, and on the other page, it says you're added subscribers. So what is it, YouTube? This is the games. These are the games that they play, especially with conservatives, and especially with black conservatives, because so many more of us, which myself, I have always been a conservative ever since I have ever voted. I've never voted Democrat in my life. But so many more black people are waking up that they're looking at the illegals now. I call them the new Negroes. The new Negroes. That's what they're after now. That's why, they're handing them all the freebies and the goodies, When Pablo says, hey, I come here to America. I come here to America with my wife, Maria, and our 10 bambinos. That means our little ones to partake of the goodies and the freebies. Well, why not? Who wouldn't? And that's why they want to bring them over here and give them driver's licenses and let them vote and everything else. Because they've got a certain amount of black people that they will always have because they've been social engineered. But there's, especially from the millennials on down, they are beginning to think and reason, and they're not buying into it, and they realize that they're losing. So they have to bring in the new Negroes. And that's the way it goes. That's just one of the games they play. And we need to wake up and understand what's going on in this country. The Democrat Party has been stolen, basically. They're not even liberal. They are totally leftist. And there's a difference. A lot of people don't understand the difference. There's a big difference. Liberals were, the word itself, liberal, liberty, freedom, pretty much, stay out of my life. I don't care what you do. Leave me alone. All of that. Leftists, oh, you can't say male. You can't say female. You can't say man. You can't say woman. You can't say gender. Men and women are totally equal in all aspects. No, we're not. I'm not saying that men are smarter than women or anything like that. But what I am saying is that physiology, let me not get hung up on that now. The physical makeup and everything's, we have differences. Anybody knows that. Any biology professor who's in his right mind will tell you that there are differences between men and women. But of course, they don't want to do that. They don't want to say that. They want to say that everything's equal, but then we're all different otherwise because we have to be split up. Black, white, male, female, not even male and female, broken into 140, 50 some different genders now. Then we've got all this other nonsense that's going on. Nothing makes any sense. And we wonder why the kids are so screwed up, why they're so depressed Why are they shooting each other? Why are they killing each other? Nobody wants to talk about that. You know something? In America, we used to have gun clubs in this country back in the 50s and the 60s, and kids brought guns to school and even brought them up before the class. Show and tell. Kids had guns in the back, in their windows, in their trucks, and nobody was killing each other. Did the guns change or did the people change? We don't value life anymore. That's the bottom line. And then you get the hypocrites from Hollywood. I just did a video on Cher coming out talking about President Trump. Ridiculous. And then she had nerve to come and apologize right after she did it. She shot her mouth off and called him all kinds of narcissists. I mean, she had a list of things that she called him. And here's a woman that's called herself the poster girl for plastic surgery. And she called Trump a narcissist. She said all these facial things done. And, you know, in the video, I go into detail about some of the things she's done and some of the things that are unconfirmed that are believed that she done that were even more outrageous, like even taking ribs out so her waist would be smaller. But Donald Trump is a narcissist. That's what hypocrites do, and that's what the left are. And I can't help it. I can't help it. You know, they're the mouthpieces that are constantly bashing common sense and bashing conservatism. So, therefore, I must stand against it. So that is my little diatribe, my intro, if you will. So let me see what is going on down here in the chat. Let's see what Sue is talking about. Hope I'm not too far down in your comments, like you've made several. They cannot have a conversation, just name calling. Exactly. My father had a gun in his top drawer, and I never thought of taking it and to kill someone. If I touched it, my arse would have been grabbed. Exactly. That's the way it was. When I was a kid, my dad had a double-barrel shotgun, and he had it in our closet in our bedroom with the shells laying in the bottom of the cabinet. Me and my brother, we knew better than to touch that gun. You know, we wouldn't do that unless if somebody was coming there trying to kill our family or something. Yeah, other than that, there's no way we'd even go anywhere near that. There's 3. Hello, 3. 3 still calls me IRTV, although my name is TL, but that's all right. I still love you. Great, you got the notification. Good for you. YouTube must have made a mistake, because I'm sure there's a whole lot of people that's not getting them. So yeah, we got all of this crazy stuff going on, and the leftists and all that they do. And folks, it's only going to get worse until we as conservatives stand up. I've said it over and over again. Thank you, 3. Thank you. Until we stand up, it's never going to get better. It's only going to get worse. These people are nuts. They're in a cult. They're crazy. And they truly believe what they say, even though they can't have an a logical argument. They can't debate you. They won't debate you. But they truly believe what they're doing because they think they're doing some type of righteous thing. but they're totally deceived. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. I never thought in my lifetime I'd ever see anything like this in this country. It is just crazy. We got all kinds of things that I haven't looked into yet today because I've been busy. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about the apparently somebody in a van up in Toronto or whatever has run over people. Yeah. So again, are we gonna ban vans now? You know, vans have been the choice lately. I mean, the UK, they have lost their gun rights pretty much decades ago, and they're banning steak knives and everything else now. Now you can't even have silverware. So I guess banning cars is next. It's just like I said about the guns as the kids in school. It is not the guns. It is not the weapon that's being used. It is the mindset of the people behind the killings. It makes no difference. You take away all that stuff, they're going to start blowing up things. They're going to get chemicals together and they're going to start blowing up buildings. That's what they do. If you want to kill somebody, if you're dead set on killing somebody, you're going to find a way to do it. And you can do it with something as simple as a rock. 3 says there was another, another truck of peace. Where was that? Yeah, let's see here. I haven't even read this article here on Breitbart. Up to 9 dead as white van hits pedestrians in Toronto. Driver described as angry and Middle Eastern. Imagine that. Middle Eastern, no doubt the religion of peace has brought out the big old peace stick and hit somebody upside the head with it again. Oh, Sue says, you think 9 killed and about 16 injured? Well, let's see here what it says. There's some pictures of the EMS and look like emergency people there. And here's an update at 7:40 p.m. Eastern. CBC reports that according to Alec Manassian's LinkedIn profile, he's a student at Seneca College. Anonymous officials cited by CBC said that Manassian is not associated with any organized terrorist group and he does not represent a larger threat to national security. You know something? I'm going to stop right there. Isn't it amazing how these people, when something happens in America, for the most part, they take days before they can figure out what's going on and who's associated with who and all of this. But in this case, within a mere few hours, they've already settled it. And you know, I don't know what y'all don't even think about it because, you know, we've already got this squared away here. You know, this guy, he had no ties with nothing, nothing. This stuff really gets on my nerves. That says 3 says, by the way, has gas attack in Syria was chlorine gas, which doesn't exactly require a government-funded science research center to make. How do they know all this info in one day? How do they know it was? See, a lone wolf. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I said, you know, we can have a shooting right here in America, and they've got all this surveillance, they've got all of this stuff, and supposed to have all this technology, but yet it takes them, well, you know, we've got to get more information. We're investigating. We're doing this. But then in something like this, immediately this guy is probably a Muslim. They won't say it, Middle Eastern. And immediately he has no affiliation with anything or anybody. Amazing. Well, let's see here. Let's go back here. It says update 7:15, which was earlier than the last one. It says a video, CBC News posted video of the police confrontation with the suspect who will be heard kill me. I have a gun in my pocket, shoot me in the head, and brandishing an object at the officers. Okay. Let's see. We won't get into all of that because all of that just goes back to even earlier. So let's see what this video has to say. Okay, one thing I found fishy about this is the first time I've seen this video. What happened to the cutaway there? I mean, did you guys notice the cutaway? I mean, it was like we were going into something and all of a sudden it's like a big part of it's missing, and then we went to another thing. What's up? It's like they're hiding something, you know, and they probably are. Because, you know, you probably yelled out something like Allahu Akbar or whatever or something, and they don't want that being heard. It's amazing. It is amazing the fraud and the things that they will perpetrate or protect these people, you know, but they don't protect their own citizens. I tell you one thing, if he'd have been in America, that car would have been shot up. I guarantee it. Let's see. 3 says, oh, another thing, the NRA is responsible for lone wolf attacks, but not Islam, whose book tell them to do what they do. Of course not. No. Remember, the Islamicists, they're loving, just like the leftists. They're loving and all-inclusive. They only want the best for you, you know. They love you. I don't know if you guys ever saw that video that came out a while back, in fact, by Alex Jones. It was nominated for a Webby. We love our Somalis. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so sweet. Yeah. That's because the elitists of the world are using the Muslims, the radical Muslims, to spread Islam to destroy the European culture, to destroy the Western culture. That's the whole point. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why the UN backs all of this crap. It doesn't say anything and is mum about it. And they allow this stuff to happen, and they bring these people in our countries. And like what's going on here, even in my town, you know, we used to have a little mosque here, one mosque. And I mean, it was small. I mean, and the irony of it is that it was right next door to a Catholic church. I mean, a big Catholic church. It's a little mosque on the corner. I mean, it was small, really small. Then all of a sudden, right on the edge of town, in between another town here where I live at, in the suburb, prime land on about, I would imagine it's 8 to 10 acres. This huge mosque goes up. I wish I'd known I was going to talk about it. I've taken pictures of it. A huge mosque sitting on all of this acreage, prime land with a golden dome. And now, there's no way that this ragtag group of Muslims in this little thing that they were staying at could have come up with the money to purchase that land, that prime land and that acreage, and build such a large facility. And Saudi Arabia is behind it, just like they're behind almost all of these big mosques that are being erected in the United States. And I got to thinking a while back, I said, why would they build something so big? And then I realized, if they're going to send all of them over here, they're going to already have these huge mosques already ready and available for these people to go into and worship. And it all made sense. Yeah, 3 says communism is so peaceful. Sue, I played that probably 20 times. Are you talking about, I guess you're talking about the Alex Jones thing, or? You know, the people in Nicaragua were marching against. Imagine that. Imagine that. All of these people want to come here. And then when they get here, they look at these imbeciles that's trying to change our country into what they're running from. The problem is, most of these people, the leftists, the Marxists, the communists, they hate America for 2 reasons. Is that America's prosperous and that America was based on Christian values. They hate the ideal of a God, of a sovereign God that has standards that you have to adhere to, and that you have consequences if you don't do certain things. They hate that. That's one reason they hate Christians so much. Let's see. Sue says, I was going to move to Tyler, Texas until I found out that they built a giant mosque and were going to build hundreds of homes. Well, see, this is what's going on. The same thing is going on with the Muslims and the Mexicans. They're infiltrating our country. They are. They're infiltrating our country, and they're slowly but surely changing things. And if you notice, if you look, the Muslims, they are going after power. They are going right into politics, just like these Mexicans are. Now, I have no problem with Mexicans being politicians, so long as, you know, if you want to be an American, if you want to assimilate, and that's nothing wrong with you wanting to do something for your people. But as long as you do it under the guise of they need to be legal citizens and they need to come here and work and earn their keep. And once they become a citizen, then they can vote and do whatever they want to do. But no, it's not when you're backing groups like La Raza, you know, which means the race, when their mantra is everything for us, nothing for anybody else. And they come over here and they're hoisting up Mexican flags down in San Diego in parks up the flagpole and talking about Chicano power and brown power. No, I'm not with that. I'm not with blacks that talk about Africa. You know, I'm not an African American. I've never been to Africa. In fact, Africans don't even acknowledge us as black people in America. I don't know why black people always got to go from, hey, I'm Negro, I'm black, I'm African, I'm what was it, Afro-America. Then it went from Afro-America to black. Then it's now African American. It's like, come on, guys, just be American. You know, Africa don't want you. Africans don't want you. So why are you trying to say that you're African American? And all these people now, oh, I'm German American, I'm this American, all that. No, you're American. It's a great American melting pot. Get over that crap. See, that's what the leftists love to do. Divide and conquer. Get everybody into all these subgroups so we can put sandpaper between them and rub them raw and get them all arguing and fighting. And then the next thing you know, everybody's saying, we hate America. It's racist. It's racist. It's racist. But then you can turn on the TV and you can look around you and you can see people of all races prospering in this country. Blacks, whites, Latinos, Asians, all kinds of races prospering in this country. But yet people are running around talking about they're oppressed because they're brainwashed. That is the problem. It's the brainwashing of the university professors and the media in Hollywood. Just like the same clowns that want to talk about gun control while they're making movies, shooting up people everywhere all the time and making millions of dollars off of gun violence movies. But then they want to say, we need to get rid of those guns. That says 3 says, I agree the lefties want to be worshiped as living gods. That's right. As they are into pedophilia and human sacrifice. I know that sounds crazy, but you read their literature and they're into that. And it's exactly right. And not only that, the Muslim men are into pedophilia. In fact, they have something called thigh that they can take a kid, an infant, and put their legs around their, I hate to say the thing, but you know what I'm talking about, and hold the legs up and ejaculate. And then they can have sex with boys all the time up to the time that they grow a beard. You talk about something freaky and weird. That is freaky. And you can't tell me these guys ain't gay. You're doing that stuff, you're gay. You know, I don't care what anybody says. And not only that, you're even worse than gay when you're talking about messing around with taking some little bitty kid's legs and putting it around your penis and ejaculate. That is sick. I'm sorry. I really don't like talking about it, but this is reality. This is what's going on. Sue says, I had a roommate who was from Uganda, and I asked her why she didn't live in a black neighborhood. She said, those people are not from Africa. See, there you go. But see, black people, they always want to go somewhere where they're not wanted and try to force somebody to accept them. And here in America, it's come to the point where they can be accepted, but the stupid leftists and the Democrats, well, they're not stupid. Actually, they're brilliant because they've manipulated black people for decades. For decades, telling them that, oh, the white man's got you down. Even old stupid, what's his name? Vice President, Obama's vice president, ran around to black churches talking about, oh, them Republicans, they want to put y'all back in chains. Are you kidding me? when it was the Democrats who was the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of voter rights suppression, the party that wanted to keep us on the plantation. And he's going to go and say that the Republicans want to put you back on the plantation when they were the party, the Whig party of emancipation, of freedom that freed the black people. Once we were emancipated, almost all blacks were Republicans. There were all kind of black politicians all over the South. The Democrats could not handle it. And then that's when they organized the Ku Klux Klan. And they went and tortured and tormented all of those people and any white people who were siding with the black people. They lynched them, burned their houses down and everything. And they were all Democrats. But they don't want to talk about that, though. Of course. Let's see, 3 says, lefties always say, what about about Catholic Church, and what about, you just said, in Islam. This is common in Pakistan, Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan. Remember, I'm a military vet, and I know it goes on. Yeah, I'm a vet, too. I was in the Marines. I didn't go to Iraq. I had gotten out before Iraq, though. But my unit, when I got out, my unit rotated back from California out there at out from San Clemente, which was let me see, shoot, I can't even remember. Good God, it's been that long. 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, 1st Marine Division. We rotated back, and my unit was in Iran when they had the Iran hostage situation, and they blew up the barracks. Some of my squad members were actually in them barracks. I saw it on TV, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, and I had just gotten out about 6 months before that happened. But no, I was out way before then, before Iraq and all that other stuff. But I totally understand what goes on and how the military works. But it's something else. There's so much lies and misinformation, and then the brainwashing that goes on. The media. I watch. I'll be honest with you. I get most of all my information from the internet. I get very little information from TV because I watch very little of it. It sickens me. It really does. It downs my spirit. I watch and I see all the filth and the perversion promoting these shows and different things, and it's just sickening to me. And I just say, I know why most Americans are in the state they are. They sit there and they watch this stuff day in, day out, night after night after night. And they're being indoctrinated. They're being brainwashed. And when you talk to people, and it's like they're talking to you like they're aliens, like they're from another planet. And I understand why. Three says one of my supervisors pulled bodies out of those barracks. Yeah, and here's the thing that's so bad. There they were sitting up in the barracks, and they didn't even have their their weapons loaded with ammo. Now that how can you be Marines, the president's own? Number one, they go into any type of deal before Congress even declares war. The Marines can be sent out. And they're sitting up in the barracks, and they're told that they cannot even have live ammo in their magazines. And they were just sitting there like ducks, waiting to get exposed. And that's what happened. And Jimmy Carter was in I think no, it wasn't. No, that was after Jimmy Carter because um, I was outside of Iran, and no, that's right, he was in because they were they were going to send us in. We were Line Battalion, the First Marine, the uh, 9th Battalion, First Marine Division, and we were outside on the Mike boats, and President Reagan said that if they had not released the hostages over there, that we were going in, and they released the hostages, and we turned around. And Carter, he did that other thing with the helicopters trying to rescue the people, and the helicopters crashed. I mean, he was a terrible president, and he had nerve to sit there and talk about Donald Trump and everything. All of these old, tired people, they just need to shut up because they haven't done anything. They've messed up everything. Obama, all of them. And they're criticizing Trump. And at least he's getting things done. The economy's changing. Jobs are coming back. Unemployment's going down. There's a lot of good things. Looks like he may have Kim Jong-un to the table. We don't know. He could be playing a joke, but at least he's talking, which he never did with anybody else. So there's a lot of things happening that, and plus he'll get no credit for. Sue said he was telling my husband the same thing about people who watch TV all the time. That's right. Brains are mush. Do you remember, it's been a while ago. It's probably been about 10 years ago. Alec Baldwin, you know, the nut that's always portraying President Trump on Saturday Night Live. He did a commercial for Hulu, and he was talking about that TV makes your brains mush. And he said, I can prove it to you. You're still watching this. You know, he went through his little spiel, and he said, you're still watching. Even though I told you it makes your brain mush, you're still watching me. So it is pretty wild out there. You know, they don't call it programming for nothing, folks. Believe me. They got a reason they call it programming. Okay, now, Sue, it is saying that 10 are dead in Toronto, according to Drudge. Yes, so crazy, so nuts. Yeah, 3, the same thing. I miss the old days too. I miss the old days when people could crack jokes on TV about somebody being fat or skinny or being old or being gay or being a mama's baby or whatever, and everybody just laughed and realized that, hey, this just the way it is. You know, the old honeymooners skits. Jackie Gleason used to always talk about, you know, his weight and how fat he was. And, you know, people were not in denial. Now you get fat shamed. What do you mean fat shamed? If you're fat, you're fat. That's just all to it. How can you be shamed? If you're shamed, do something about it. Now, I know there's some people that have a medical issue, but the majority of people, it is lack of exercise and sticking that fork in their mouth all the time over a period of years and decades that got them to the point that they're so obese. Most of the people, that's what caused it. If you are ashamed of it, then do something about it. Let's see. 3 says we had a a Department of War. Yeah. Yep. Everything is so crazy. And you know, I'm always talking about the hypocrisy, the hypocrites uh, in Hollywood and everything. Here's an example here. Just another one of many. Let's see if I can get this up here. Move right here. What's going on? Okay. Let me get this other back up. There we go. Just some of the hypocrisy here. This woman right here, Joy Reid, you know, she's always running her mouth about this and that, social justice warrior, Trump hater, everything. And then look here. This same woman who's supposed to be the great social justice warrior. Again, the hypocrisy of these people. Homophobic. In an exclusive statement to media, the MSNBC host claims these posts from the Reid report, which include defending homophobia, gay jokes, and the outright mocking of gay people and homosexuality, were somehow put in by an external party that manipulated material from my now defunct blog. Somehow. Oh, I know nothing. While Reid apologized in December for writing homophobic content on a blog she ran long before her days as an icon of the hashtag resistant movement, she claims these posts opposing gay marriage and cringing at the sight of two men kissing were part of a, quote, fabricated, end quote, outside effort to paint her as a, quote, offensive and hateful. These anti-gay articles from the Reid report, a site that predated Reid's former MSNBC show of the same name. Now notice how they keep saying predated, before. They never do that with President Trump, though. It's like whatever happened, it's like it just happened yesterday. But it says Reid's former MSNBC host of the same name were originally shared on Twitter by user Jamie Maz, who found them using the Wayback Machine, an internet archiving service that takes periodic screenshots of popular websites to preserve them. Okay, I won't go into all of that. But basically, what that is about is that they found out that she put out all of these posts when there she is supposed to be this social justice warrior and everything, you know, this wonderful leftist loving socialist, and her hypocrisy is caught. And now she says, like Schultz on Hogan's Heroes, I know nothing. I see nothing. Oh, these people are pathetic. I'm telling you, they are just sad. As that 3 says, just like Jimmy Kimmel is supposedly a feminist now. LOL was on the Man Show. That never happened. The show that didn't exist. Yeah, these people, what a bunch of What a bunch of clowns. You know, it's totally amazing, the hypocrisy. Um, and this is like I, did that thing on Share, and then she said all of those things uh, about Donald Trump and everything, and about the president. And then she comes right out and says, "Oh, I shouldn't have said certain things, this and that. I should be held to a certain standard." Listen here, you're a 71-year-old woman running around in thongs, thinking you're 15, and you got nerve to call President Trump narcissistic. Please. What these people? What makes me maddest is that nobody calls them out. Okay, Sue. Thanks for showing up. Take care. Yeah, nobody calls these clowns out. That's what the problem is. They just get away. They say this stuff, and the media doesn't do anything. They don't. See, if the media stood up and was honest and start piling on these people for their hypocrisy, they would stop. But see, since no one's ever calling them out, they just continually keep it coming. And the average person is so brain dead and does not do any research and go check out things to see if anything is true or the credibility behind the person who says it. So they automatically believe it. They just like a catfish. You just swallow the hook, line, sinker, and everything. Don't try to sniff around it and say, hey, I don't know. This may kind of smells good, but I don't know. No, they just come up, swallow it all, and then run around regurgitating it, and they don't even know what they're talking about. And then when you call them out and you start talking about facts, then they want to argue with you and call you names because they can't answer, because they have no critical thinking skills. They have not analyzed anything, and they don't know how to analyze anything. All they know how to do is just take sound bites and different pieces of information because it goes along with what they want to think and believe, rather than putting it in check and running it through a process. So it's amazing. So what do you guys think about all of this? Three, what do you think? Are you still there at three? Oh, okay. Gray. That's something I'm trying to get up here, and like his page is trying to hijack me here. It's rather odd. He's talking about this guy that this guy here that oh, okay, I got you. Oh yeah, you said do I have any feelings about Kanye West supporting Candace Owens and thought it was a fun tweet, triggered. Yeah, um, you know, I got my doubts about that Candace Owens, though, man. It's because she came out of nowhere in no time. And next thing you know, she's on Sean Hannity. She's on everything. And then she had started this doxing site. And when people started calling her out on that, then she shut it down and then went back into her so-called conservative mode. And yeah, she knows how to say all the right words. She's got the look. She's good looking. She's presentable. She's articulate. Sure. But I just feel that she's a plant. I really do. I could be wrong, but that thing with that doxing site, when she came out with that and people were investigating it, and it was like, she was showing her true colors, and then she backed off to that thing. And so I don't know. But she's saying the right words. Yeah, she's talking the talk, and that's all good. But my question is she for real? That's my thing. Or does she have an ulterior motive? Because, like I said, she came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, she was everywhere. There's been people talking, me, myself. Now, I've only been on YouTube for a little while, for, a few years. But I've been talking about politics for nearly 30 years. Before YouTube was even around, I was arguing with people in the barbershop about the Democrat Party plantation and about voting Republican and stop wanting handouts and freebies. Yeah, like I said, I'm not ready to throw her under the bus, but that thing there, I heard several videos, and I don't know if you heard of there's this one black woman. She used to be a police officer. She's from Germany, and she calls herself the Tree of Logic. She's wild. But, one thing about, she's real. She ain't phony. She's rude, she's crude, and what you see is what you get. And she called out Candace and showed how that she was a phony. And she said that Candace actually was had something to do with trying to dox her, and her being an ex-police officer, she had people that she had locked up. And she was very concerned about it, and she ended up moving to another location, and she was really upset about it. Say, I subscribe to the Tree actually, but I stay out of this beef. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I was. The same thing, Tree can be a little bit vulgar. For my taste at times, but I really do appreciate her realness and her candor, and hey, she is what she is, like it or lump it. That's basically the way it is with Tree. But I never took any sides. I kind of looked at the evidence, and I kind of left my reservation. Other people were making videos. I never made a video about it because I didn't have enough concrete information for me to be satisfied to go out and do something like that. I try to be careful about saying things about people if I've got doubt and reservations. I've got to be pretty doggone sure before I just come out and start slamming somebody. So it's kind of my motto. Let's see what we got here. Is 801. And look here, nothing in the queue. So, what do you think about the Waffle House shooter? Apparently, they found him, and he's from Illinois, which is just one state over from me. Apparently, they've got him on $2 million bond. And the Tennessean website here has got him in a car. Apparently when they caught up with him. So let's see what they have to say.
Looking for ways to optimize total cost of ownership? Get help managing diverse devices with the free systems management automation tools from Dell Client Command Suite and save up to $57 per user per year. Looking to boost
Well, there you go.
looking
And of course, they're going to use that as another deal. I'm surprised they're not screaming now about the AR-15s or something. Rapper says some of the black security guards at my college supports those black men at Starbucks and think it was racism, and think that there are rules when in a lot of businesses. Rapper, that's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. And myself, I personally think that there is something behind that. It smells. Because if you've got two guys, doesn't matter if it's two or one, but if you got guys that call themselves business professionals in the real estate industry, you're in Starbucks. Now, you're a real estate broker. You can't purchase a muffin. You can't purchase a cup of coffee. You as a business person don't understand that an establishment expects for people to come in and spend money instead of sitting there using up Wi-Fi and resources and taking up tables and seats. It's not a public area. It's not a park. It's not a park bench area. That stinks to me. And the fact is, after you're asked to buy something, you say no. And then when you say, well, we're going to ask you to leave, and then you say no. And then you say, well, we're going to call the police. And you still say no. Now, you're a business professional now, not some lunatic bum. To me, that stinks. Something is not right. So they wait for the police to get there, and then somebody conveniently, one of the leftist white people conveniently is filming it all, and then by the next day, the CEO of Starbucks is ready to sit down and with them and shut the whole company down to have sensitivity training. That stinks to high heaven to me. I wouldn't be surprised. We know Starbucks has always been left-leaning to begin with. I wouldn't be surprised if George Soros didn't throw them a bunch of money to put this all up there to set a precedence where any minority can go into an establishment and act a fool like that. And now the public pressure is going to be on them to capitulate and to follow suit. Because I'm telling you, that stinks to high heaven. To me, it makes no sense. Dapper says exactly. I know that it is not better to stand in the middle of a business and can't see that my microphone's in the way. Anything. Common sense is for one to just go about their business and be happy. Yeah. And I had seen one article where, one day of closed business is definitely huge. And you're talking about all the stores, you know. And the thing is, that's what I'm saying. That's why I know it stinks. Something's wrong. The average black person or anybody else that's got any common sense, you're not going to wait for the police to come to run you out of a business that you're inside of and you're not buying anything, and you told the people you're not going to buy anything, and they say, well, you need to buy something. And you say, I don't care. I'd rather go to jail. To me, it makes no, especially with some people who call themselves business professionals. I just can't buy it. I think it was a big old stunt. George Soros is probably behind it. He done kicked out a bunch of money. He's probably covered the whole time that Starbucks shut down, because that man wants to destroy this country. And he'll do anything to destroy this country. Because he wants to come in and buy things up for pennies on the dollar. That's what he does. He causes problems in nations, and when they riot and they tear up and they implode, he comes in and buys the prime properties for pennies on the dollar. Rapper says Starbucks is full of expensive $5 burned up coffee, which college students playing on their computers and not doing schoolwork, and a cup of coffee. Free Wi-Fi is not a good thing. I'll tell you what, I'm not a fan of Starbucks. I mean, their coffee, I can't handle it. I mean, you know, it blows my head off my shoulders. I can't, it's too strong. I can't handle it. I don't like it. You know, gives me the jitters and everything, and I'm swinging off the chandeliers. I can't handle that much caffeine, you know, so. 3 says Soros Jr. is about to take over Daddy's position. Yeah, he sure is. He's been well groomed, and he's ready to take over to keep the evil going. George's mini me. That man, he should be locked up in the pit of hell somewhere. That is one evil dude. Man turned his own people into the Nazis for money. And he said he had no remorse. That is somebody you can't trust. He turned his own race in to the enemy. Now, it's one thing if your race is a bunch of heathens and criminals. But these people weren't doing nothing. They were just living and going to work and doing what they do. And he turned them in. And years later, after being interviewed, he had no regrets. Amazing. Yes, sir. We're living in some wild times. Wild times, folks. Folks, we've gone over a little bit here. We might run on another 15 minutes or so, but if anybody wants to call in, the number is 812-205-2704. Should anyone want to call in. Let's see. The rapper says even black businesses have problems with stereotypical black people. Something up in their line of work. We need community meetings to talk about these problems. No, I don't think we need community meetings. We need common sense. That's what we need to do. Just go back to common sense. Common sense says if I got a business, you're in my business. My business is for patrons, people who come in here that or either they're with somebody who's spending some money, they're welcome. Your business is not open to vagrants, to homeless people, bums, and everybody else who just want to come up in there. No, there are public places for that. See, that's why I say that I know that this deal with Starbucks, I smell a rat. Because they already are leftist leaning. So, if George Soros gave him enough money to cover everything, oh yeah, I can see him doing it. I definitely could see him doing it. And then it makes it look like to the social justice warriors, oh, what Starbucks is, they went corporation wide with sensitivity training. Oh boy, now we need to go and patronize Starbucks. So, yeah, I could see them pulling that stunt. Like I said, it makes no sense for anybody to go in anyone's business, tell them that they don't want anything, that they're going to sit there as long as they feel that they want to sit there, and they don't have to purchase anything. No. I'm just here. I'm going to sit in here and I'm going to soak up your central air or your heat or whatever and your music and your ambiance. I'm just here to soak it up. And I'm going to have a business meeting and, not going to buy nothing. Nada. What you going to do about it? Oh, the police? Oh, go ahead. Call the police. Call the police. The rapper says, I would rather give free food for the homeless veterans in the streets instead of opportunists who want free stuff. Exactly. See, here's the thing. That's what's screwed up. These leftists, they want to give all these illegals crap. They come over here and take over and get all this free stuff, and they don't give a flying F about America. Many of them don't. They come over here to take over. And we give them education, food, low-income housing, all of this stuff. Let them vote and everything. And then we got veterans who done went over there and got their minds scarred, got their bodies scarred. And they're living up under bridges. Some of them can't even get medical care. That's what's screwed up. And that really irks me as a veteran myself to see other veterans going through that when we got people over here that are committing crimes and they can run and go to a place where they won't even get locked up. Let me ask you, rapper, when you commit a crime, where can you go to stop from going to jail? You think you can run to California and they give you some sanctuary? Yeah, you're right. At least they're grateful. Yeah. So I commit a crime. Where can I run? Where's my sanctuary city? Where's my sanctuary state? I'm an American citizen. I paid taxes, been working since I was 13 years old. Where's my sanctuary city? You know, I commit a crime. Well, in California, as far as they're concerned, they might as well just shut down all the penitentiaries. Oh, no, but you got to keep the penitentiaries for the American criminals. The illegals, they don't have to go to jail. I mean, that ought to make all of them mad. And they say, you know, hey, we're in here doing time, they're committing crimes, and you guys are protecting them. That's right, rapper. No word. We all do, eventually. Those right now may be getting away with some of their crimes, but their sins are definitely going to catch up with them. They won't get away from those. There's only one way to get out of those. So yeah, it's just, you know, it makes me so mad because the insanity is that the media plays into all of this stuff and they don't call out the truth. They don't call out the facts. They don't tell the truth. Exactly. Thou shalt not steal. And also, the good book says, if you don't work, you don't eat. So therefore, if you're able-bodied, yeah, and here's another thing too. Around here, it's gotten to where that he got these bums standing out there on the major thoroughfares and on the edge of the freeways and the overpasses, standing there with these signs, looking up with puppy dog eyes, talking about we'll work for food. Some of these guys are walking back and forth. They look like they're in perfectly good shape. They could be working construction or something, making $18, $20 an hour, but they want to stand there panhandling. So the left would want to remove religion from our society, first the 10 Commandments, and now the Bible. Exactly. I try to tell people, the left hates God. They hate God, especially the God of Christianity, which is the God of all. They really hate it. That's why they always come after the 10 Commandments and all of this stuff. And, you know, they're right in par with the atheists. They all enjoy it. You know, you don't see them attacking the Buddhists, the Muslims, the Hare Krishners, the Moonies, the Sikhs. They're not attacking none of them. It's always the Christians. So what does that tell you? That's how they roll. That's what they do. Sad state of affairs. But, you know, if we don't do something about these people, we're going to have big problems. We're going to have big problems. The moment California destroyed the Bible is when the real God would show up and educate them. Yeah, they're going to be educated. You're going to have to pay a price. Got one little last story here that I'd like to hit on. Donald Trump pressures Mexico to block illegal immigrants from U.S. border. President Donald Trump put pressure on Mexico to use its immigration laws to block illegal immigrants from Central America from crossing into the United States. Mexico, whose laws on immigration are very tough, must stop people from going through Mexico and into the United States, into the U.S., Trump wrote on Twitter. He proposed making Mexico do more to secure the border as part of the NAFTA agreement currently under negotiation. Our country cannot accept what is happening, he wrote, added that he wanted fast funding for his promised border wall. Exactly. Exactly. The president said he had ordered Department of Homeland Security Secretary Christian Nielsen to block caravans of illegal immigrants traveling through Mexico to the United States. It's a disgrace, he wrote. We're the only country in the world so naive. Wall. And there are his tweets. And that's it. Let's say 3 says, not sure if you follow MMA, UFC, but Kevin Lee, Black Fighter, had an interesting interview with Joe Rogan. No, I don't follow it. I mean, I hear those guys occasionally from time to time, but I don't really follow it. Like I said, for one thing, I don't even have cable. You know, I watch very little TV. Most of my time is spent on the internet. I've watched Joe Rogan in the past, but I've never really been a big fan of his. But anyhow, you go on to say, described in my words, he learned helplessness from growing up black in Detroit. Exactly. And that's what it is. He talked about victimhood mentality. That's what they do. The leftists know that they have to keep preaching this to black people to get them mad and to get them upset and make them rebel against any type of success or trying to do anything. If they tell you, I think it's, what is the saying? It goes something like this. If you believe something, then you pretty much so are. And that's what the Bible says. You know, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You know, if you believe you can't do something, then more than likely you're not going to be able to do it. So they preach that stuff. Helplessness, hopelessness. Oh, it's the white man's fault. It's the Republicans' fault that you down. They keeping you down. You need to go and make them give up this and give up that. No, you can't go out there and get your own. You know, you don't have the skills. You don't have the fortitude. You don't have the platitude. I mean, you don't have what it takes to be able to get it on your own. You have to get somebody to give you something. So that makes you inferior because you can't do it yourself. Yes, exactly. 3. Learned behavior, not inherited disadvantage. No, it's not. I'm going to tell you something. I'm 56 years old. Back when I was a kid in my town, there were all kinds of black-owned businesses. When I was coming up, I mean, dentist office, black-run schools, car washes. I mean, just about everything you can think of. They had black people that had businesses. I look today now, a few chicken joints, barbershops, and childcare. That's it. No dentist office, no doctor's offices, no restaurants, hardly no big restaurants or anything. No grocery stores, no nothing. All of that's gone. And see, a lot of these kids come up, they have never seen that. So they think that we've never had it. So the thing is, if you think you're oppressed, if we were oppressed now, how did they do what they did before that? And that's what that victimhood mentality does. These people, they went out and did it, but as their sons and daughters and different things got into the welfare system and got dependent, and then were told that they were victims and that they couldn't do this and couldn't do that, they didn't aspire anymore. They didn't go out and try to do anything. And so generation after generation, all of that learned entrepreneurship was just whittled down to nothing. And so now you got kids now that don't even realize that black people had all of these businesses and stuff back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They don't even have a clue. And of course, the Democrats and the leftists are not going to tell them about it. So the rapper says, TL, it's crazy that pro-blacks are comparing this Starbucks situation. Oh, please. How can you compare two bums not wanting to buy something and had a chance to leave before the police get there? How can you compare that to a racist thing where these people were in a restaurant and they were wanting to buy something and they weren't served because of the color of their skin? That's totally different. Oh, boy, don't even get me started. Please don't get me started. I like that rapper. Hashtag, I am not a victim. I'm not a victim. You know, they can be victims all they want to. You know, while they're talking about blacks are victims, you got Steve Harvey and all these athletes and all of these doctors and professionals that are living the American dream who are black. You got people got good jobs, living in the suburbs, nice homes, nice cars. While they're being oppressed, everybody else is living. And it's sad. If you happen to be one of those who believe this lie, I feel sorry for you. I really do. All you got to do is open up your eyes. Look around. Look at television. Look at the advertisements. Look at the billboards. Turn on your radio. There are black people in every industry that are thriving. And you thinking that black people are oppressed. No, it is you who are oppressed, not black people. Hey, 3, thanks for the kind words. Says, love your videos. Boss got to go run. Working on computers and got to shut down this one. I hear that all the time, and it's a stupid comparison. Exactly. And in fact, it is time for me to get ready to shut things down too, because it's actually supposed to be an hour show, and I was hoping to get some calls in, but didn't. But anyway, had good chat interaction. So therefore, I think we'll go ahead and get ready to close things out. You guys, I thank you all for showing up and contributing, throwing in your 2 cents, your 10 cents, whatever. It's all good. The rapper says, real people are builders and doers, and some people are just dreamers. Yes, sir. Stevie Wonder had a double album out back in the 70s. And one of the songs on there was, nothing comes to sleepers but a dream. Good night, rapper. But that's what he said. Nothing comes to sleepers but a dream. Whole bunch of sleepers out there. If they wake up, all of its opportunities available. But they like sleeping. They like sleeping. Oh, you oppressed. I'm so sorry for you. Get woke. I mean, really woke, not the fake woke. Get real woke. I challenge you. Groove with me for a minute. If you oppressed, work with me. Slow, deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Is that better? So you're really not oppressed. Get really woke. Anyway, I love you. I wish everybody a good night. Have a safe week. Stay out of trouble. Do the best you can. And remember, as always, speak freely. This is TL Swope with Inverted Reality TV's live from the lounge, signing off. Good night, everybody.